Yo, 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 in the chat, What? All right. Um. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Hello and what is up? Welcome to episode 336 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Alt. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we had to take Monday's show off. So we have a plethora of goodies to get to, including a full-blown E3 recap, talk about potential esports that might be coming from it, and just in general what games we're looking forward to. A little bit of CS talk here as we have IEM Summer that did wrap up, and then also something else that started. What tournament started, Anuj? Why is it escaping me? Blast Pro. That also kicked off, so we'll have a packed e-news heavy on that. But of course, just because we skipped Monday does not mean we skip Yikes of the Week. So we also have a packed Yikes of the Week to get to. But before we get to any of that, let me tell you about the show sponsor in Alt Esports. AltEsports.com is where you need to go right now to get yourself the best apparel money can buy you in esports. I'm talking high quality, it looks good, and also more importantly, made by good dudes. Anuj and I have had the pleasure to see their operations firsthand down in California when we were there a couple years ago when, you could do things like that and travel. And I got to say, it was a pleasant surprise. They are very authentic to their brand. If you're looking for some good dudes that you want to support in esports, I highly suggest you do altesports.com. You can go to their website right now, sign up on their newsletter. You get 10% off. Easy peasy. Get yourself some summer apparel.
Hey, this is Daps. You're listening to TCR.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast presented by Alt. Episode 336 coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, June 16th, 2021. The time, 8:59 p.m. Central Time. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Join our Discord and Patreon if you feel like you should. At The Center Ring on Twitter. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports, and alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
Good, dude. Built up the hype for this episode, waiting on E3 talk.
Well, so I guess that's our bad. Because Sunday, we were going to do a show, but then you were on emergency dad duty. And then, so we were like, all right, well, let's just do it Monday. Well, then on Monday, I found myself on emergency dad duty. And believe it or not, children don't always do what you want them to do. Especially when you have...
The whole schedule thing doesn't work out.
Yeah, they don't understand that daddy has the #1 esports podcast he has to do. And sometimes they just don't go to sleep. And they feed off each other when you have two of them. So we had to push that back. And at that point, well, you might as well just wait another day and get back on schedule and do Wednesday's show and just make it packed. So our bad, but we're back. And it's going to be a packed episode. At least positive flip on this one. We can do all of E3 rather than what would have been.
Part of it and come back and do Nintendo later.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's like at that point, it's like, is it worth even bringing up Nintendo for like one segment? It's like, But regardless, now we get to do it all in one. So that's exciting. Exciting that we get to do E3 in one. And a lot of CS. Won't dive too much into I Am Summer or anything because as an esports, it's been 24 hours since that tournament ended, so it's already old news. Because
We're already in the middle of the next one.
right, so much for those player breaks. so much for getting time off if you're a CS player. But regardless, we'll discuss that in e-news. Anuj, story time. If you'll indulge me before we get to Yikes of the Week. I did something for the first time on Monday. So this would have been Monday before we were supposed to record. I am going through, you can see somewhat behind me. Every time, it's like every time I clean this office, it's just to make room for more junk that I'm going through. I've learned that I'm not necessarily a pack rat, but I definitely got a lot of crap. So I'm going through, I'm putting things up on Facebook and offer up and all those apps, right? Never done that before. My wife's has, but she always messes with it. I never mess with it. I don't want to do eBay. I don't want to mess with shipping. Like, it's just so much easier for these people to say, hey, I'll come over, pick it up. Great. Perfect. Now, you do get idiots who try to, like, lowball you, like, 60%, and you're like, dude. Like, did you think...
Why are you even offering?
Right. Like, did you think I stole this, so I'm just okay taking anything? Like, I'm not doing this for crack money, okay? Like, I need, you know, I just want to get rid of it at a fair price. So anyways, never done this before. Well, I had a fighting stick for sale because I'm a controller pleb. I've given up trying to be cool.
When was the last time you used the fighting stick?
Oh, I mean, I used it with this new computer. I used it for Mortal Kombat. The issue is like the learning curve on the fighting sticks are pretty steep. Like, you would think, it's like an arcade, and I used to do arcades. And then you're like, oh, this is kind of a beating. Because it's like, especially, it's like, the buttons don't necessarily line up with the PC, and it's like, so, okay, now it's showing an Xbox button, but it's like, so it's like, not only do I not know the controller, but I'm also confused on the button layout. So,
that doesn't help.
It didn't, and I've had it for years. I used to play it on PS4, and it was much better, but no one plays on PS4s or even console that I know, so I decided to get rid of it. I just wasn't using it enough. And you know what? Sonic Fox, if Sonic Fox has taught us anything, it's okay to be everything that he is. But more importantly, he's taught us it's okay to use a controller. Like, if there's one thing that he has given the world, it's not that, hey, it's okay to be a furry, which is still up to debate, but it's okay to use a controller in a fighting game. And
is he one of the few that does that?
I mean, at that level, right?
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Are there any other big name pros that use a controller that you know of?
Punk, I think he still does. I don't know why he would change. Punk, but I mean, you can count him on one hand.
Yeah.
I think at that level you could. And go figure, most of them are American who use right. I don't think the fighting stick.
You don't go over to friends' houses and generally a fighting stick is laying around.
No, look, in fighting games in America, if the dude walks up with a fighting stick, you might as well just forfeit because you know it's like, oh, this is legit. This guy plays. He knows what he's doing. So long story short, I'm talking to this dude finally, like after a month of having this fighting stick on Facebook Marketplace. He says, yo, I'm driving over from Plano. Is it still available? And I was like, yes. First off, never negotiates price. Instant red flag. Like, you're not even going to ask for like $10 off on this? Okay.
Like, you're going to rob me.
Right. So he's like, is there a public area near you that we can meet up? So now you're volunteering for a public area. Red flag number 2. You're not asking for a discount, and you're volunteering to meet me in front of the grocery store by my house. Okay. And you're also driving like an hour away. Okay.
Yeah, because Plano's not too close to us.
No. So that's like 3 red flags right there. And keep in mind, I've never done this before. So I said, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. So, I'll meet you up there at 6. Okay, cool. So I get up there. And I'm not kidding you. I had to bring my oldest son with me for whatever reason. So he was in the car. I'm sitting in Kroger, and like before, like, he's like, hey, I'm like 5 minutes away, blah blah blah. I tell him my car. I have never been more mentally prepared in my life to murder someone if I had to.
You just felt it was coming.
Like
I know
I
what you mean though. I know the situation. I know the feeling. You're like, I'm thinking of every bad situation that could potentially happen and how I'm gonna plan my counterattack for those
like
situations.
his name was Andrew. His Facebook profile picture looked completely innocent, but in my head I'm like, this is all fake, and this man is coming to stab me for this fighting stick. And I'm like thinking in my head, okay, do I go for the throat? I landed on eyeballs. Like, if anything goes down, I go after his eyes.
Like if you could just stick him with the two, like what is he gonna do at that point?
Just just mountain style on Game of Thrones, just push my thumbs into his eyes. That was my go-to, because I figured if worst case scenario, say he stabs me still, like if he goes to the hospital, that's a pretty like, hey, has anyone shown up with like a missing eyeball?
That would be our guy.
Like, I would have his eye, so I would get him no matter what. But I was so mentally prepared to murder this man. Yeah, I mean, even if he made the wrong move. No, I didn't. Unfortunately, Abbott only signed the bill for open carry for anyone till September. So
I'm like never doing anything on Facebook Marketplace and Meetup now because of this new stupid bill. I will never meet somebody random. I feel like you're all carrying. Everybody is carrying in this state now.
yeah, so that's just my little background story for anyone who's ever done those Craigslist marketplace stuff. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know. I've never done it before, but I feel like that feeling never goes away because you just don't know what weirdo is on the other side.
Yeah, I always just write a message at the end like "send female, come alone."
I'll
For
meet
some
you
reason, I
at
haven't
this
made a sale
street
yet,
light.
but
It's broken. Don't worry about it. Meet me at the broken street light.
door is unlocked. Come to the back room.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it feels like, though, right? You just
Yeah, it really does.
like, even if he was like, hey man, I'll just come to your house. I'll be like, okay, I'll meet you out front of my house. Like, stay in your car. I'm walking to you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you in lunging distance of my front door. Like, I got kids inside. I got, like, it's just not gonna happen. So I'm just letting you guys know. I live to tell the story, but I was ready.
You were in a life and death situation there.
I've never
And
been.
you made it through.
I've never been more ready to take another man's life. I don't think. Despite that guy at BlizzCon at the airport.
Yeah, he needed to go.
I was also ready to end him if push came to shove. But no. So, hey, long story short though, I'm alive. He did pay full. He didn't even do like the whole like, hey man, I actually only have like $80, so is this okay? People do that where like they agree on a price and then they show up with $10 less, and it's like, it's all I had. So it's like, fine, whatever, sure, I'll take $10. And I honestly felt bad because it's like, man, that was so smooth, and you did drive an hour. I should almost give you a discount, but I didn't. So
No.
all is fair on Facebook Marketplace, but hey. I got some money and I'm cleaning, so it's a win-win. All right, yikes of the week. It is Wednesday that we're recording this, but we can't wait on yikes. So let's do some yikes here. Anuj, I'll let you go first. I really only have the one, so I'll let you take the. We have three.
Yeah. So coming from Valorant, this is regarding Zealous, player from version 1. Tim, after the Masters event where they so masterfully gained everybody's hearts here in the US and increased their fan base, and things are looking really good for version 1, even though with the elimination I think they come out of there feeling good. They got to represent the US, one of two teams to make it through, and did pretty good overall. Well, after the event, we get news from Riot that they have banned Zealous for not only the first Challenger Open qualifier, but for the first Challenger main event for Stage 3, for some remarks that he made out in Iceland. And I've yet to see anything that shows what was said. At least I wasn't able to find it. But I'm assuming it was, pretty bad to take a 2-game ban. I mean, what looks to be a 2-game ban, right? It looks like it's just the first match of each of these events. unless I'm reading that wrong. Um, but yeah, I mean, you have to take it pretty far in my eyes, and that's just kind of a yikes because this is the first time we've been back at LAN, and for this game ever, but in general for roughly over a year and a half, and you find a way to get banned from that one event, and it's just a little embarrassing. Hope it wasn't anything like racially or sexually sensitive, like maybe just made a bad joke or I really don't know. I feel like you got to say something pretty bad and to take a ban. Like it's not going to be cursing that would do it or something. So
Yeah, and I
yeah,
think he even said it like in like a meeting or something. It wasn't even, so that's why like no one really knows what it was, right? Because the only people that were there would keep it hush hush at this point. But
again, kind of crazy. I mean, the first time we're back in an event and he pops off and says whatever he says. So just a yikes from a like unprofessional, is what that is. You should probably know. I guess
I don't know
Zealous
what he
hasn't
said.
been
I
to
got
too
to
many
know what he
events.
said.
Yeah, like I just wish I knew what he said. Like that would help this situation. But in my mind, just like you take things to the abyss, I'm also taking this as he said N words, made Asian jokes, did like slanty eyes, called somebody a lesbian all at the same time. So I'm gonna assume it was pretty rough whatever he said to take a 2-game ban.
Yeah, especially in like qualifiers, right? Like that's, it makes it
Yeah.
like it even highlights like this isn't just like regular season stuff. This is,
Like, bro, what did you say? Like, these are people you don't even play against ever. Like, what could you have said that warranted a 2-game ban? Like, it had to be bad.
the world may never know. But you know what people do know, Anuj? And that's what Nadeshot had to say, because if you watched E3, he did a interview with Venn. Now I know some people know them. They kind of hit the scene maybe like a year or so ago, kind of as everyone boasts themselves as like you're home for a video game. Whatever. They're just same
They
old.
paid for a bunch of content creators to do something on like opening day, and then I haven't heard from them since.
Right. Like, oh, you have dark rim glasses. Oh, you play video games. Would you like to work with us? One of those websites. It's just the most generic content with the content creators all doing the same thing, just to look more chill and lax. And hey, look, we're one of you. We're gamers too. I digress. Anyway, so Nate Shot and Hex did an interview with them, I guess months ago, and it premiered at E3. So pretty huge, right? Like everyone can see this interview, and it was very open, very candid of a conversation. And you can go find the audio and everything of this. The yikes of this, though, comes from Nate Shot claiming that he did this as a favor, and he said he wanted to see it and hear it before it aired, whenever that was. He didn't know what it was for at the time, but he just wanted to look at it first, so in case he wants to take anything out or edit, he can do so. Well, radio silence, and then all of a sudden he's like, hey guys, let's go watch some E3 as a family. And then he's sitting on the couch and he sees this blast in front of him, and he's like, uh-oh. I didn't know about this, and maybe 3 months ago I maybe not have said this, right? Or told him to take it out or do whatever. So then all this backlash happened with Venn, and people are now attacking them, and Nate Shot comes out and says, hey, I did talk to them. Miscommunication. It's all good, guys. Don't flame them.
But he did come back out and tweeted on top of that again to kind of say like, yeah, this was still not. This is the type of crap I was afraid of, and he had retweeted a tweet that someone sent him saying like, "Oh look, big shot ego,
Right.
CEO talking about how tough it is for a big company like them to grow, and he's like, this is the kind of crap that I wanted to avoid, um, by
Now,
some of this information coming out."
I get where Nate Shot is coming from. Full disclosure,
100%.
whenever we have a guest on, 99% of the time it's pre-recorded, right? And it's for this same exact reason, is because people just feel more comfortable, and we always give them the option. Hey, if you say anything you don't want, let us know. You can even stop down the interview and have us delete it then, but let us know. And we've had not a lot, but a couple people after an interview be like, hey, we talked about this. Can you scrap it? Right? Or during an interview, they're like, I'm going to tell you this story, but like immediately erase it from your minds. Right? Like I'm
Yeah.
just telling you this in confidence of we're having a good conversation. And that's perfectly fine. right? Like that's professional courtesy, and I get that. On the flip side to that coin, though, it is just professional courtesy. If you agree to do an interview, favor or not, I don't understand the favor part. Like, you're doing an interview. It's an
Like it's
interview.
a favor to their company in
Right.
that sense. Like,
Yeah. So I guess you could say anytime you agree to do an interview, sure, it's a favor. But Nate Schott's smart enough. You don't say anything you don't want to say in a microphone that's being recorded. Like that would be my life lesson, and hopefully he's taking that away from this. Like,
I
don't
think
don't be afraid to do interviews, but just know, like, hey, that's like Radio 101. Like, don't say anything into the microphone that you don't want people to hear.
I think he knows that. I think the difference here is the interviewer in this case was, and he probably got super comfortable and they're boys and it was a conversation that they were having, and it wasn't like a typical like if you and I were sitting on the other side of that, he probably wouldn't answer those questions the same way.
No.
He would probably have a very CEO type approach to answering those questions. So I think it was even more so important for them to give him that, final cut, because it probably was a really comfortable situation. He probably felt like it was a conversation, and pieces of this audio will be used to promote Ven or whatever,
Right.
right? So for them to release the whole thing was pretty shoddy on their part. I'll be honest with you, I love the interview. Thought the interview was great.
Yeah, me too. That's why I don't really
Well,
understand what Nate Schott was so upset about, because
I
it
well,
was
what he's probably upset about is he doesn't want to make it seem like pity us. This is the issues we deal with. We have to pay a lot if we want to have a winning team in League of Legends, like millions of dollars. Like,
right.
he probably doesn't want to air that stuff. Not everything needs to be aired out, even if some things are known. Like, it doesn't need to be coming from him, at least. So I get where he's coming from. And at the end of the day, though, I enjoyed the interview. I enjoyed the openness and the honesty that he brought to the interview. I wouldn't take offense to anything at all that he said, but I understand exactly where he's coming from. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed the interview, and those two guys when they're together, it's a pretty good dynamic, right? They've done some podcasts together, they make a lot of content together. They kind of bounce off each other nicely. So seeing a long form interview from them, although unexpected at E3, I didn't think it was bad. I actually enjoyed the content.
Yeah, so I did too. If Nate Schott ever wants to come on a show that would let him listen to an interview afterwards, just let us know. We would love to have you.
That'd be incredible.
Though
Love
if
to have him anytime.
you can talk about anything you'd like, and we'll delete it. So I guess it's like I said, I see both sides of this. I see where Nate Schott's upset, but I also see where it's just like, well, I mean, you did say them in a recorded microphone, and they don't have. It's not like there was a contract to give you the, if
No, and that's his way of airing it out there, is putting them on
right,
blast,
of
right?
course.
So now they're
Of
going to
cour-
take more heat
which
this way.
Nate Schott is not above using his Twitter to put people on blast. That's like
No.
that's like Nate Schott 101. I mean, anytime he's unhappy, if he stubbed his toe on a wall, he would put the wall on blast. Like, come on. That's what Nate Schott does. It wouldn't be Twitter if it wasn't Nate Schott trying to blast someone for something. Arnuj, your next yikes.
Yeah, so recently two players from Resurgence, Valorant team, had two players in the Ignition series that, unfortunately, Tim, bet against their own team like freaking morons.
Mm.
With
Mm.
all the allegations that have been going on with Counter-Strike, with the fact that you can't get by doing this stuff. Like, you should know that at this level, it's almost impossible. There has to be so many channels and lines of people in between you and the actual transaction to not get caught. It's probably pretty crazy. And so two players, and I'm going to say their names because I want to put them on blast themselves. Malcolm Chung goes by the gamer tag GERMSG. I don't even know how to pronounce that. I'm not going to try. And then Ryan Tan, Dreamy CSGO. Looks like he hasn't changed his tag since he switched over games. Actually makes sense that he's coming from Counter-Strike now that I read that, to bring that over to Valorant. But these guys are banned for the next 3 years. Coordinated betting against their own team, tried to get their own team to bet against them. Their teammates are most likely going to serve some sort of punishment if it hasn't already been announced by now, because they obviously knew what was going on, but they did not participate in the act, or I guess try to throw or whatever. But
Yeah, it
on
was
the
in the article. The way they worded it is like they knew, but they were also afraid of getting in trouble if they said anything about it. Like, and I guess you don't know how high it
there's
goes.
some understanding that I'll have there if they didn't participate, but the fact that they knew it was going on, my guess is they get anywhere between like a 6 to 12 month ban, handed down to those players as well, just for letting it take place, right? Like you knew your teammates were going to throw at the end of the day. You knew people were betting on this match. You knew people were going to profit from it. Like it's enough to get you in trouble. So, yeah, huge yikes. Two idiots carrying over this crap from Counter Strike that we're seeing. We still haven't heard from ESIC on more of the match fixing stuff, which is really surprising. But yeah, these guys are gonna to do some hard time. It's not an indefinite ban like we've seen in the past with Counter Strike, but 36 months. You might as well find a new game.
I mean, and we've talked about that before too, right? It's not like these guys are like irreplaceable players. This wasn't Drone or Tens match fixing, and now you okay? Oh, after 36 months, let's give you a tryout and see. No, these guys are done. Like it wasn't like, yes, it's not a lifetime ban, but 36 months for these like tier 2, 3 players out here in Singapore, you're done.
You're done.
You are done. Hopefully your Twitch has enough of a following to keep you alive, because that's what you're going to have to rely on. Sad time. We didn't make it through an entire year without match fixing, I guess, on a pro level of Valorant. So not shocking, but I'm also still upset about it. And what did ever happen with this ESIC information? The last time they talked, they seemed like, oh, it's right around the corner.
They released the names of the Australian match fixers and still have not done like the US stuff. Maybe there's a legal aspect to it because they did say the FBI or whatever was involved. So maybe for legality reasons, we are, haven't heard the names yet. I'm going to assume that's what it is because it's kind of crazy that we haven't heard anything at this point.
Yeah, nothing. Did we have
That's
a good dude? Did we have a good dude of the week? Is that from?
I mean, you had one.
Was that what I put down?
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't put that in there.
We'll skip it then. I don't think that was my good dude of the week.
I was surprised when it was on there.
Now I'm gonna look at notes here because I don't know why I would have put Control on Epic Store as good dude of the week.
Although, guys, if you would like us to mention, like if you enjoy it or appreciate it or whatever, when we mention like gamer deals like that we run across, I'm not going to do it for peripherals and things, like just mainly like games that we see that are free or promotional. If you want us to throw that out there, we gladly can. I mean, between Tim and I, we see that stuff all the time. So if you actually enjoy us, throwing that out there, and hey, you snagged a deal because you heard it here, let us know. Well, I mean, we could throw it in e-news from time to time,
because that's normally how, like, I don't open up my Epic Store ever unless someone on Discord says, hey, this week this game is free. And I'm like, oh,
I mean, that's why I mentioned it, because we hear it a lot of times from a listener, so if you want us to spit that information out on here and you like it, tweet at us, DM us, whatever. Like, not a big deal. If you're enjoying it, we'll gladly throw it out there from time to time if we see something that we like.
I know what my good dude of the week was and why it was related to this. So it wasn't the fact that Control was the free game. So what Epic Games did, what Epic Store did is, and maybe they do this all the time, I don't know, I just saw it on Reddit though, and I wanted to give Epic a shout out for this because Steam does not do this, and they would tell you to suck it, is the fact that so Control went free. There was their free game of the week or whatever they do, right? How Epic Store does that. Well, they automatically refunded this guy who just recently bought the game and said, hey, our system shows that you just bought this game recently. Well, it's now the free game of the week, so we've already refunded your account the $40, and you can still continue playing the game. Have fun.
That's pretty legit. That's awesome. That's a great move on their part. Chances are this kid will now spend that money in the store on something else, or cosmetics in a game or whatever. But a classy move. Like, you're right. You probably wouldn't see that from many of the big publishers out there for someone to do something like that. So
not at all. Good. So that's a good Good dude, yes. Canada just said they refunded people who bought it. And I don't know, maybe that's new to that. I've never seen that before, even from Epic. So if that's their policy where it's like, hey, if you've bought this game like in the last month or so, I don't know what a fair cutoff is, but awesome. Because I know that's happened. And, honestly, that's what kind of makes me not buy games at full price. Because I'm like, if I buy this game after like a month of it being released, right, you are subject to random 10% discount on that game. Like if you just randomly buy a $60 game like 4 or 5 months after it's been out, I'm going to say you're a sucker. Cuz that
if you're buying a game at full price, it needs to be a day one buy.
Yeah. It really does.
I'm going to stand by that.
Cuz outside of that,
paying full price, it needs to be a day one buy, otherwise you wait a few weeks even, and chances are it's been discounted by 15 to 20% somewhere.
Yeah. I will stand by that statement. Day one, full price. After that, you're taking a risk. You are taking a risk. All right. Speaking of day one buys, Anuj, we did have E3. It came and went. The E3 online for 2021. I would say our previews were pretty close, if I remember correctly. I didn't have it all written down, but our preview show with
we didn't get GTA 6.
Unfiltered
we didn't get Skate 4. We all the things we thought we wouldn't get, we didn't get. All the things we were probably looking forward to see, we did see, and I think we probably enjoyed most of it, as we'll get into. And then there were a couple of surprises as we go through here that none of us mentioned. Probably none of us were thinking in that direction, but whether it comes to release dates or surprise releases, like there was some good info, and it was just nice to see E3 back.
I thought it was a good. Honestly, like watching it from home, it didn't really feel all that different than any other E3. Yeah. Like it didn't. I mean, I guess maybe the atmosphere and the vibe was a tad different. Hey, one last Yikes submission, but it almost isn't a Yikes because it wouldn't be an E3 without him. The massive cringe-worthy actors that these people use. Despite it being online, we still got cringe-worthy game announcements and people doing horrific acting announcing games. Looking at you, Day 9 and Frankie.
I didn't even see. I don't know which part you're referencing.
I think that was during the Bethesda presentation. It was awful. I don't know what it was. Frankie was like a mech warrior for Mech Assault, and Day 9 was like this other. I don't know what it was supposed. Just give me the game. Give me the game. I don't need this fluff in between, people, okay? All right? But nonetheless, all the cringy voice actors playing their games, I just love it, where they think that's how we actually talk while playing tactical games. Anyways, so let's get into some... I want to touch on the non-gaming stuff first, and then we can get into Xbox and all that. But Netflix. Netflix was actually a big discussion at the preview. I didn't get my long shot, which I wasn't expecting it, but it's still out there. My prediction of Netflix will one day announce that they're going to get into the streaming game. I truly believe that's still somewhere in the future. At least they're talking about it. But they did kind of set up their groundworks for their gaming shows as they're making a huge push for. So some of these have already been known. Cuphead, they're doing a Cuphead animation. Fun fact, love Cuphead. Love it.
It's going to be a good show.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Because I'm assuming the people who did the game are at least in charge somewhat of storytelling. So yeah.
If they make it like an old style cartoon, I think it could be good.
I mean, that's what it is.
Modernize it too much.
No, I think... Yeah. No, I think it will feel like an old show with modern talking, right? Modern dialect or whatever, however you want to word it. Far Cry is getting...
It's like based off of the Dragonborn DLC or something like that for them. Again, I think looks like it could be a pretty cool show. I mean, even if you didn't know it was Far Cry, you could probably still enjoy that type of show.
I imagine John Cena in it. I don't know why. I just see them casting John Cena. Splinter Cell will have their show directed by the same guy who did John Wick. Sign me up.
That's going to be badass. That's got to be badass.
Up. That is
100%.
That is going to be awesome.
That just sounds like an exciting show, right? Like some sort of stealth assassin type game, like a show where I mean, I just feel like if the money is put into that for good effects and not shitty acting, like this could be a really good show.
And I think Netflix has earned our respect, or at least my respect, in the sense of like they don't go cheap. They do
They
on some
do
shows.
sometimes.
They do on some shows.
There are some shows that I have turned on. I literally turned off an episode in because I was like, "Oh dear God, they got porn actors to come into
they
this show."
they go cheap. What was that one show that some people liked? I didn't even bother because
Who
as you
killed
mentioned,
Sarah or something like that? Have you seen that?
no, but it looked terrible.
Dear God, it is so. Go watch, please, tonight. Everyone, homework. Go watch the first episode of Who Killed Sarah. Probably some of the worst acting I've ever seen.
What's that show that it was like everyone hyped it up and then it's already canceled? Like Neptune. It's like their superhero show. I don't know. I forget what it was called, but same thing. Like you mentioned, porn actors. It looked like these people couldn't even act in porn. It looked terrible. Already canceled after season 1. But shows like Witcher, right? The Witcher were awesome. Live production. Yep. They're coming out with season 2. Obviously, I think that's actually coming up.
Yeah, I think that's like already done. I think that's like in post production.
Yeah, I think that actually has a release day or somewhere near. But like that wasn't cheap, so I'm looking forward to that. Resident Evil show, I think is going to be good.
I think this dates pre like Resident Evil 1 game. And more so how we got to the point of like creating the virus and all that. I think this looks awesome. I think this has the potential to be a really good show. Again, same kind of deal. Like if the money is put into it, Resident Evil could potentially create a long-lasting series for them, right? Because they could transition from this and then kind of pick up where the games start.
Endless, really.
And really like blossom out into an awesome show. I hope it's done right because for me personally, Tim, I was not a big fan of the Resident Evil movies. I thought they were all, they've been pretty lackluster.
I mean, they were good for their time, but they definitely don't hold up.
Yeah, but they were like they got progressively worse every time I saw one, know, and by the time it was like towards the end, it was unwatchable almost. So like the first one was cool because it was Resident Evil. And then that was really it. And so they're not really that rewatchable in my mind. So I am hoping for a good series from Resident Evil because I think the storyline is absolutely incredible for it. Like who hasn't, from our age bracket at least, who has not played Resident Evil? Everybody's at least touched on one or two of them.
And then they showed a little bit for the League of Legends anime coming out, so
I think that has the potential to also be really like all of these that I put on here. I was like, man, we can have a nice little lineup of gaming shows.
I think
like for even the League one was quite intriguing to watch. Like they had Jinx as the character, and she was kind of setting up some old school like game. It looked like, where it's like a punching bag, almost turned into a punching bag, but it looks like it has a little bit of a dark side to it, and there's so many characters involved in that world. So I don't think Riot is really going to skimp in this area because this is something that their fan base, kind of being that community, right? Like there's a big weeb community within, I don't know if you're allowed to say that or not,
of
but
course.
like a big weeb community involved with League of Legends. So a lot of anime watchers, like the way that they make their characters are all kind of like in relation to anime. So they really got to nail this on the head. And I think they will because they have money, right? Like they can make this good if you hire the right people. And I think they've probably done that.
So there's some Netflix shows coming out here to keep an eye on about gaming. Now getting into the games. We started off kind of with the first day or the first big thing was the Xbox showcase. I think the big takeaway here is you got to get Game Pass.
It's a must. If you are on PC, and assuming they don't raise the price again, because it went from $5.99 to like $9.99, if I'm not mistaken. So they did raise the price one time. If they don't raise it again, this is a must buy for all gamers, Xbox and PC. There's no reason not to have Game Pass when you get 33 games, I think, are scheduled to be released this year, maybe this year or next year for Game Pass. Large titles, indie titles, first-person shooters, RPGs. Like there is a little bit of everything involved in Game Pass, and I was like, damn, I gotta I have it already. I'm gonna have to continue my service with it because there are so many titles on there that I was just, yeah, like I would want to play this. Like this is a game I would definitely want to play.
Yeah, and a lot of like new ones that are coming out. Like they've definitely, I thought Microsoft definitely was like, guys, we spent a lot of money buying Bethesda. We need to show that, and they definitely did because you have like 2 exclusives I think coming from them. Outer Lands 2, which I thought the trailer was funny. I've never played Outer Lands 1, but I thought the trailer was, tongue in cheek. Tongue in cheek on how they were like, no, this is literally all we have for the game right now,
Yeah.
which is what I want at E3. All I want is games announcements. Other than that, their big thing was Halo. We can get into Halo, or if you want to save that for.
Yeah, sure. We can get into it here in a moment. I mean, I think a couple things with Xbox that caught my eye was they just went game after game after game after game. Like that's all it was, and that's exactly how I want my presentation to be. I don't need talking in between each trailer. I don't need you to try and pump it up a little bit. Like just give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
We got an okay mix, I thought, like ratio wise of cinematic versus like actual gameplay. And a lot of these release dates are either TBD or they're a little bit further out. It's like you could probably show
I
this
am
to me at
taking
next
any
E3.
release date with a grain of salt. I am not asking off of work right now for any of these release dates.
Yeah, like I think the big ones for me from the Xbox reveal that I'm looking forward to right off the bat, and these are Xbox / Game Pass reveals, right? So these are going to be available to everybody here. Age of Empires, that's not that far. That to me was awesome that release date finally came out, and to know that it's like right around the corner. I think it's like sometime mid October or late October. Did you see the trailer for Ascent by chance? Over the top
No.
gameplay. You can have 4 people co-op. You're shooting, and think of it like old school, like Gauntlet Legends kind of thing. If you
Okay.
remember that game,
Yeah.
but it's like a 4-person co-op, and I was like thinking, I was like, man, either a really fun land game or just a night with the boys, and you want to get in and just shoot some shit. That game also like looked really appealing to me, and that's also right around the corner here in July. Um, and then the other one, and maybe we just talk about this real quick because it won't take up a ton of time, was also the Sea of Thieves update. The Sea of Thieves update I thought was also a big surprise, and they've partnered up with your favorite, Disney. I mean, you've got to be stoked about that.
I am, you know this about me because you've been to Disneyland with me. I am a sucker for Disney. I am a Disney nut. I was raised as a Disney kid, and that has stuck with me, and I'm passing the torch on to my children. So yes, as soon as I saw the Pirates of the Caribbean tie-in with Sea of Thieves, I was like, I'm back. I
Yeah,
have
like
to re-download this.
Jack Sparrow, and I don't know if the voiceover is Johnny Depp or not, but it sounds exactly like him. They've added like some sort of like mini raid where you actually have to go and like save him and kill somebody, and new monsters coming out of the sea, and just like a lot of stuff. It seemed like got added to this game since the last time you and I have
Yeah.
played it. Release date of June 22nd, like right around the corner. I mean, you want to talk about announcing and then giving like that, that couldn't be much better. And so that to me is also a must play to at least try out, right? I might not love it, but I enjoyed Sea of
It's
Thieves.
worth re-downloading it if you own it.
Yeah, for sure,
So
for sure.
I'm
And so,
excited. Some other games that you actually kind of jogged my memory of that were before this too is Ubisoft did more of Rainbow Six Extraction. That was the big one in the preview show that we were talking about that Ubisoft would reveal.
did that get you excited?
So let me tell you what, there are a lot of games that were on E3 that I had the same reaction for, where I was like, oh wow, this looks actually really interesting. I'm not going to play it, but it looks interesting.
Zombie game modes don't intrigue me anymore. There was a time when I thought they were like fun, and that was honestly a time when I was used to go to my friends' houses to play video
they
games.
put more thought into it than I thought they would have. Where it looked like there was a lot more Rainbow Six elements than I was going to give them credit for. Like I thought it was just going to be like a Left 4 Dead running gun zombie type level game. But it does look like there's at least more thought that you can do in this one. You can go a little bit more stealthy and things like that. But it's just not my thing. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's just
That time it's come and gone for me with like zombie mode type games. It's just not, not anything great. I
not
thought,
that. One that I did kind of like, and again, because it's on Game Pass, I might actually check it out, was the Forza Horizon 5. Like how it's more of like almost like an open world car game. Like I thought that was a very interesting take on Forza, how they have like the mini game modes and things like that. I'm a racing fan, and so I liked the little twist on that. One game that
that looked good. You also have the racing wheel, so that's gonna help the enjoyment
yes,
level of those types of
that
games.
is true. One game that I know some people are excited for. We talk about games that I used to like, and now it's just I tried playing them. Borderlands, the Tiny Tina's Wonderland announcement. It's got like huge voice actors in it. It's got it's got Will Arnett, Wanda Sykes. If she does anything for you, she beats me down, but she's in it. And it's like a Borderlands spinoff. A lot of people were excited for it. I'll pick it up on Steam sale for like $5, I guess. The one game, though, that does interest me, which is a brand new IP, is Redfall. Did you see that trailer, the Vampire Bethesda game?
Yeah, that's gonna be, I think, an Xbox exclusive for also PC as well, but like an
Yes.
Xbox exclusive.
Summer
Yeah,
2022.
that looked pretty good. That's a little, yeah, I was about to say that's a little ways out
Yeah.
before we get a chance to play that. I think that's even like end of 2022, so
And
it's
very
not
little
really,
information on it. Like watching the
we'll
trailer.
see more information on this at next E3, which will be like the launch hype for it.
Because watching the trailer makes me think it's like a 4-player game or whatever, but that looks awesome.
It was just like I didn't see enough, but it looked cool.
Yeah.
Like give me more, and then we'll talk. I thought another one that kind of falls in that same boat was Bethesda's new IP for Starfield. Saw very little. They showed a little cinematic demo that they did. Super intrigued by it. Again, the whole space idea of space. They did give a release date, like a specific date, like where most games, when they're being released at the end of the following year, will just say like Q4 or holidays or whatever. Or if
Right.
you're Halo, you'll say that for a game that's coming out in a few months. But for Starfield, November 11th, 2022, like very specific.
11/11/2022.
That game, get ready for the hype that's going to come behind this game. It's going to be hype build up, like similar to what you've seen with Red Dead, with what you've seen with Cyberpunk. Like Bethesda's releasing a new IP. That's a really big deal. And so, at least in that part of the gaming world, that is a very big deal. So, looked cool from what I saw. Excited to see more.
One game, Far Cry. Far Cry 6. It's
like the fact that you just said 6. Okay, cool. It's the 6th one. Everybody knows what they're getting. Like, it'll be fun if you enjoy Far Cry. You're probably gonna enjoy this one too.
Yeah, it's not like it's going to. One game that I know a lot of people are hyped about, but I'm honestly not, is Elder Ring. I know that was like the big thing everyone was looking forward to. I know Unfiltered Nerd was super excited for it in the preview show. I watch it, Anuj, and I'm not gonna lie to you. You could put that next to any other Souls game out there, and I would think it's all the same thing.
I mean,
aesthetically, the gameplay looks the same. I understand, like, a lot of people are yelling at me right now saying I just don't get it and I'm bad at them. You're absolutely right. I don't have the patience. If this plays like the Souls game, I'm just not in it. I'm out. I'm tapping out.
like, I feel you when you say that because it's not our type of game, right? I'm sure it's going to be an awesome game, but I see it and I just see like Dark Souls again.
It's just
I'm like,
the
wait a minute, is
aesthetic
there
is like,
anything
oh man,
here?
look,
Like,
here's a chest with teeth. Like, I feel like every other medieval game has that nowadays. Like, every medieval fantasy game is somewhat the same now. I don't.
no, and like I said, I'm sure it'll be great. We're probably not doing it the justice it deserves because it is incredibally hyped up.
I
There
mean,
is a
food for thought.
huge love and following for it. It's just
This is an
one of those
esports
things.
podcast, so chances of us being, head over heels for a game like Elder Ring, probably not
Yeah,
that
if
high.
we were a gaming podcast and we said that, we would lose a lot of people right now.
Right, but it's just not my type of game.
Yeah.
I will love watching a playthrough on it, right? But I'm just not going to play it myself.
Another game I know you were pretty excited for before we kind of get into our headline titles here. I feel like Marvel's is right up your alley.
Yeah, so the Guardians of the Galaxy one that they announced, Square Enix, which they've done other Marvel games. They might have done Spider-Man. I could be lying to you on that one. I'm not sure. But I'll pick it up. You know, it's coming to PC, I believe, and I'll pick it up on sale, sure. You know, my issue with those games, much like the Avenger one, is I know they're not based off the movie world, but I just can't get, my brain cannot stop comparing it to like the actors and the voices. And it's like, I understand they're like, hey, we have this and it's completely different than what people know of them. And it's like, but not really. Like, you're even playing like the same music and like the same cheeky sense of humor with it. And it's like, okay, you know, I'm sure it's going to be a fun game. Go back and everyone do this. Go and watch that Guardians of the Galaxy trailer and let me know if I'm crazy. I feel like the lip syncing when they're talking is really off. Like, I don't know if I'm being picky here, but their mouths look so weird when they're talking. And if it's like that, I won't be able to play the game. Like, I will not be able to get past it.
It's gonna bother you too much.
Yeah, like it looks so poorly synced up. Maybe it was just the trailer. I don't know. But that looked good. You know, I'm a sucker for Marvel. Obviously, as you see all my Spider-Man stuff behind me, so I'm definitely down to play it. Riders Republic from Ubisoft, I think looked interesting. That game, what scares me about that game is it's one of those games that are going to be heavily based off of population. And it's one of those games where it's like, if you're launching at $60, this game is going to be dead in 2 weeks. Those first 2 weeks are going to be really fun. And then after that, it's just going to be bad.
No, yeah, I mean, any game that launches at 60, unless you're a huge title, might have a tough time, right? Like,
yeah. And then there was a handful of indie games.
There was one that looked pretty fascinating, and unfortunately, I could not even tell you the name of it anymore. I'll see if I wrote it.
Yeah, there were a handful of indie games that caught my eye. I'm a big indie guy.
Go look at trailer for Replaced. It is an indie game that has like this weird kind of old school vibe mixed with like new technology. It's called Replaced. I don't know. It's not a game I would typically be fond of. It is a side scroller game, so it kind of brings back some Ninja Turtle vibes and some games that we played back in the day, Contras and stuff like that. But kind of fascinating looking. Like they've gone a route that we have shied away from for a long time, and this is going to be available next year. I don't think it's a this year release, but we're checking out the trailer for it because it did have a really nice aesthetic to it and kind of like pleasing. Are you watching it right now?
Yeah, it seems right up my, like, those are the kind of games that I find myself.
It has a really
playing.
nice aesthetic, doesn't it? When you're actually going into the gameplay, you probably have to fast forward a little bit to see it, but
very cinematic looking.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that was cool. We did, Tim, get a release date for Diablo 2, and that is coming up September 23rd. I would like to know where your hype level is around this.
I'm there. I'll be there.
Yeah, the more I think about it, like I'm not even sure if I'm gonna like.
I'll be there. I'll play it.
It makes me want Diablo 4 like even more.
Yeah.
Like I watched some of the gameplay and I was like, yeah, this shit still looks old. Like still looks like like it looks nicer than it did 20 years ago, but it's like
right. No, I'll be there.
Still looks old to me.
I'll be there. You know, it's not like it's
okay. You'll be there. How long will you be there? Is going to be the question, right? Are you going to be there a week and then it's like moving on, or
I'll at least I'll play through the game, right? Because I've never actually played Diablo 2, believe it or not, and so I'll play through the story maybe once or twice with a buddy, right? But
I'll join you. I mean, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
I don't know where my hype level is.
I'm not going to be on like that Diablo 3 grind, like when Diablo 3 first came out, and it was the only game I played for 2 years.
Wait, you haven't grinded all 27 seasons of the same game over and over again?
No, believe it or not, I did have to give up after a while. Though I do have a friend that does go
done
back.
like season 3.
Yeah, I think like if you look back, season 3 I think is when I started puttering out a little bit. But for those first 2 years before seasons were there, oh man, I put so many hours into Diablo 3. But Diablo 2, I'm there, whatever. I'm trying to think of, there was one other game and I do not remember the name of it. It's a Korean RPG, which I know, don't completely tune me out yet because I don't like the Asian style RPGs, but this was like Diablo. It's an MMO. They're marketing as an MMO, and what's Diablo called? The camera angle, top down.
Yeah, over the top.
Over like when you're looking down at them,
yeah.
that style like Diablo, and it's like that, which intrigues.
Wait, which game is this?
I don't remember.
Bro, you can't come to the table.
Korean RPG E3. Let me damn it. I do not know it. I might be making the whole thing up. I don't know. I could be making the whole thing up. I will have to look it up. It's just as we're talking about it, I'm like remembering. Because I remember watching it, and then as soon as I was like, oh, never mind. Like I saw like a Korean developer, and I was like, I'm out. I didn't want to do. Oh, is it Lost Ark?
Oh, yeah, Lost Ark is an MMO, and
Yeah.
it's been out. That's been out for years in the Eastern market. It's coming here. I don't think it ends up being successful here. I really don't. It
is top down though, right?
I don't think that's top down.
It looks it. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
crazy.
Sure like it might be like a little bit of a different camera angle.
I mean, feel like this is one that you can kill my hype for. This was like one of those shock ones that I saw, and I was like, oh, okay, this looks interesting. But feel free to kill my hype.
Lost Ark's been out for like a long time, and I think it's overhyped. We'll see.
So it's coming here. It's been out. Okay, well then.
Yeah, been out for years.
It's already dead to me then. It's done. Yeah. It's dead to me. So before we get into our marquee, which is Halo and Battlefield, let's just touch on Nintendo, because Nintendo was the other day. And you know what? Like I said this before, if you're a fan of Nintendo, you're going to like it. If you're not a fan of Nintendo, this isn't going to convince you otherwise, because they did exactly what we thought they were going to do. They opened up with a Smash character, so they added the guy from Tekken. Cool. It's another Smash character. They showed Breath of the Wild 2. Again, it's not going to be one like if you're not a fan of Breath of the Wild, you're not just going to be like, you know what, I'll try this one out. But it looked interesting, like any other Zelda game does.
And that's a 2022 release, right?
I believe that's what they're saying, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it looked interesting enough to kind of hold you over. Advance Wars is coming back. That's honestly what I'm more excited for. But other than that, I mean, they showed Metroid, what's it called? Dread, which is like their 2D side-scrolling Metroid. If you're into it, great. But again, it was just a very Nintendo E3. We're going to show you some things that you already knew, give you very little of something you didn't, and, it's Nintendo's E3. I mean, was there anything from Nintendo that...
You summed it up nicely. I have nothing to add to that.
I mean, yeah, it's just think of everything that you normally have for a Nintendo, and that's pretty much what
we saw. Some Mario stuff. We saw Mario Golf. That looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
But they added like a battle rush mode to it, so you're like, you hit the ball and then you race to your ball to hit it again, and some sort of speed type thing. So maybe we'll count that as a BR and throw it in E-News.
Right, there you go. One last thing, Anuj. And we didn't even talk about it, but it's the most hyped thing, in my opinion, that E3 showed. And that's the Xbox fridge.
Did you see what it was selling for?
No. Do you know the price?
No, I don't.
Okay. I don't know. Because, of course, the joke is that the newest Xbox looks like a fridge. And so Microsoft is actually coming out with a mini fridge that looks like the Xbox, which is awesome.
Smart.
Yeah, that is so smart by their part. And you know what? If it's like $100, I might pick it up for the lulz. I might pick it up. Just don't be like $300 or something. But if it's like a genuine mini fridge, I'll have it in the corner or something. Why not?
There is no chance that this is $100. My guess is you're looking at like they'll charge between 300 to 400
I mean,
bucks
isn't that
for
like
it.
as much as the system though? Like,
Yeah,
what's
it's still a fridge. If you look at mini fridges online, like cheap ones are like 100 bucks.
yeah, that's
This
what I was.
one is gonna be all lit up and promoted for gamers. You'll see it behind 9 out of 10 streamers going
Oh
forward. Like,
God, I know you know it too. I'm gonna claim that it helps their aim assist or something like that. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of things that are extremely expensive and probably overpriced, Anuj, I don't want to do this to you. I don't, because I know you're super excited. So I will not rain on your parade. Are we really going to spend this much money on Battlefield 6?
I already pre-ordered.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I know I said last time, if this game ends up being $60, I'm not going to do it. I know I said it. I know it. I've heard the audio. I've told myself this. I've, you know.
I did it before I got on the show because I knew that you may try to convince me otherwise when you saw the price.
It is a
And so,
multiplayer only game that's going
Mhm.
to have season passes. This thing is going to be, I mean, it's going to run us over $100 just to play.
if you want the cosmetics, I can stay away from cosmetics, I think, on this. If they were adding things to the battle pass that were like in Call of Duty, they unlocked weapons for you. And it
Right.
was like, well shit, like that's gonna be the go-to weapon. Like I gotta have it, you know? They said it's only gonna be
But what about
cosmetics.
season passes, though? Like with
Uh,
maps and things like that?
no, that's all free.
Okay.
Yeah, all the content for the game is free. The battle pass is only for cosmetics.
Maybe if that's the case, then I can justify. That's what I'm telling. Okay. Convinced me just then. Because if I spend say the game was $40, but then a season pass for new maps was like 20 anyways, well then right there was 60. But if you're telling me I just have to pay 60 up front and all the new maps for there on forward for the game will be free, I guess that's a little better. Still effing ridiculous because that's even talking on PC, but if you're on next gen consoles, you're paying like 70, $80 for this thing. Like, good lord.
It is like disappointing that they made it a $60 game because the player base will not be as big as, even like obviously your Call of Duties or some of these other titles that have welcomed in a player base because of some free aspect to the game, like a Warzone or whatever. Um, you have games like Valorant that have come out free to
Yeah.
play. Like I know that's PC only.
The
So a
trailer though,
$60 game
the
is
trailer looked
expensive,
incredible though. The
dude.
gameplay
Could it have been any better looking?
we saw some gameplay of. It's exactly what we were asking for.
Yep.
Exactly. Large
If I
scale chaos.
told them this is what we wanted, if they listened to our show and they found out what we were asking for, and then they made a game and designed it around that, and I did not support them by buying the game, what am I doing?
And that's what I feel like too. It's like I feel like I have to support it because it's exactly what we were saying. Now, from an esports side, I don't ever see that happening.
No,
like-
that's not it's going to just
I know
be
they, like I said, they tried dipping their toes into the 5v5 at one point in time. It looks like they've completely abandoned that because it wouldn't even work for a game like this anymore.
They went polar opposite. They went from 5v5 modes being available to 128 player.
It's just going to be the
modes
mass
available.
chaos that we've been wanting. So
Look, we're getting the dynamic weather we were asking for. Vehicles look like it's going to be at an all-time high. Crazy explosions, zip lining from building to building, modern technology guns, the ability to change out attachments on the fly depending on the situation that you're in. You're going to see F-16s or whatever they are at that point in 2042 flying overhead and zipping by you. You're going to see drops coming in. There's going to be fighting and chaos everywhere. Like, this
Very
is what
excited.
I want in a Battlefield game. Like, this is it. I wanted a modern day shooter, big maps. The maps look massive. They do not look like they're playing around. They've added some new game modes that look like they should be pretty decent. They kind of took some game modes that they had combined previously and separated them for the aspects that people like about them and created their own modes for them. I think eventually we will get a BR for this game. I mean, wingsuits. Look, they've made it look exciting enough to sell me on playing it. I know we'll have a big group of our friends playing the game. It's just going to be something where it's a game I don't have to tab and check out the scoreboard every 3 minutes to see if I'm enjoying the game or not, right? Like I don't need to be a top frag in this type of game to be enjoying it. Hopefully, I still am. Hopefully, it works out and I'm playing the game and I'm playing it well. But it's just one of those mass chaos games, and you and your buddy hop into a helicopter and try to get to different extraction points and take over different control parts of the map. And, you feel like you're in your own little squad in the middle of a true battle. And I hope that's the experience that they're able to present. I think with 128 player servers, you definitely have the ability to do that. It looked fun. Like, what more do I need from it? Like, if you're looking for a war style game with modern technology, but not too advanced to where
Right.
you're
Not
shooting
crazy
freaking lasers or
lasers.
anything,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're gonna
No.
be in a good spot.
It
You're
looks
probably
awesome.
gonna enjoy this game.
It looks awesome. Definitely not thrilled about the price. And especially on the same weekend when you have Microsoft and 343 Studios re-revealing Halo multiplayer completely free to play. So, doesn't look great for Battlefield's player base on consoles and mainly PCs. That's what I don't understand is like,
But
so it's
the release date's not gonna be close enough.
the release date.
Battlefield's
No,
coming
I
out
mean
in
that won't be an
October.
issue. And like I said, I think for the majority of people, like it is just two separate style of games, right? But I think for a lot of people, there's just a lot of free to play out there that $60 is not worth it.
All they need to do, similar to Call of Duty, is if you release a free to play BR and it's to where you level up guns faster in the game, that's why people buy Call of Duty. Like, barely anybody's buying Call of Duty to play multiplayer anymore. It's just facts, right?
Right.
That number has reduced drastically with free Warzone games. But I bet you the sales look really great for Call of Duty because a lot of these people are going back and now buying the full game. So guess what? You can unlock Cold War guns now in Warzone. You don't have to like unlock them at a very slow pace. You can get in there, level them up, and then hop into Warzone and use these badass weapons that are meta. Battlefield could easily do something like that, and then you're in a very similar situation to Call of Duty is not free. It's not like you can
No,
just
but I
hop
mean,
into
it is like I'm just talking about for the casual gamer. You look and you have a lot of free to play options for it. Now, I'm not saying Battlefield should be free because it definitely doesn't look like a freestyle game and it is there.
like the number 40 would have felt better than 60.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
But if you're also telling me I'll never have to pay for an expansion because everything is free,
definitely
then I
makes it.
also kind of get that part of it too, because
Yeah.
you're not going to price gouge me later on for, hey, do you want to play this new multiplayer map? Well, guess what? Night Ops mode now costs $19.99.
Definitely helps cushion the blow. Considering Battlefield games are normally out for a very long time before a new one, and you typically do get a lot of expansion. As someone who just recently re-downloaded Battlefield 4 again because I had the itch,
30 expansions tied to that game.
I told you, I was like, oh, sweet, this game will be like 30-minute download. After 30 minutes, you're like, are you done? I'm like, yeah, I forgot there's like 8 expansions for this thing. So no, I'm not done.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, you did have Halo's re-release into the world. This was very multiplayer heavy. In fact, I don't even recall them talking about single player very much. Like
They
did.
just focus on multiplayer.
Yeah. So obviously, and that's I think the right move to make because that is where your market is going to be. It is 100% free to play multiplayer, no BR. So we didn't get the BR, but even without it, I would say what they showed. Because don't get my words twisted. I don't care about BR. Halo with it doesn't matter to me. I just
wanted it for the player base.
Exactly. I want it there for the hype and the player base and Twitch, right? The replayability on Twitch, which hate it or love it, that can make or break a game if you're popular on Twitch. But that being said, they've showed a lot for Big Team Battle for casuals. I love the way they're doing the Battle Pass, which I feel is a little different than others, to where it's not like a timed thing. Like if you come in 2 years after the game's been released, and you're like, damn, this thing in Battle Pass 2 is really cool. I wish I played then. Not a big deal. You can go and buy that Battle Pass and rank that one up. So I do like that.
Okay, so you can
twist.
go back and buy. I thought it was if you had it, you could activate it at any point.
No,
You can
the way
actually
I
go
heard
back
it is
and-
you can go back and buy them at any time.
Either way, that's kind of a cool twist on it, right? Whichever way it ends up turning out is whether you could go back and buy the old one, or if you have an old one and you didn't get the end item of that battle pass, like having the ability to go and do that. Yeah, a nice little touch.
I
for
just wish
sure.
more games would pick that up. I first off, the gameplay trailer though got me so I've been thinking about Halo Infinite now every day since this.
Which one? Like the game? Because I thought the trailer that was released at E3 was a little weak. I thought the 15-minute demo that they did after the main event was awesome.
See, I think
right? Like,
both got me so hyped. And I guess that's probably because I'm a Halo guy and you're not, right? So that's probably the difference there is like I'm watching that Halo trailer and all those memories and everything come rushing back. And I'm like, I know exactly what is going on in this trailer. It's big team battle. I see capture the flag. I see oddball. I see vehicles. Like it's exactly what you want. But I'm very relieved after seeing the Halo presentation, and I think Microsoft also just did a really good job of showing you like how they're bringing back equipment, but not in the way that people hate it, because equipment in Halo sucks, like especially the way they implemented it. It just wasn't good. I like the fact like how the overshield now is like a carrying, like it's not just on randomly on a map and you pick it up and it activates. It's like you're holding it and you can activate it whenever you
equipment goes
want.
into your inventory,
Right.
and then you choose when to use the
And
equipment.
I think that's good from both just a new freshen up, but I also think from a competitive esports style, because all that now adds is another level of strategy that you can have in your esports. And I think
because you can hang on to that equipment, but if you die, you drop it.
Right.
So you have the chance of giving up that piece to the opposing team.
yeah, I do like that. I like how there's they said like a focus on larger maps and everything like that for big team battle, which for a free to play game, I think that's purposely on why they focused a lot on big team battle, because they were trying to show like, look, we don't have a BR, but look, we do have big team battle, which is still a massive
so big
fight.
team battle is how many versus how many?
It used to be, I believe it used to be 8-on-8, but that was, Xbox days. Battle.
I would hope it'd be nice if that was bigger, but I mean, I thought that was cool. The way they showed the arena section.
So it says here, Halo
map.
Infinite's big team battle will have 24 players. It's the largest big team battle yet, so it's 12 on 12.
12 on 12. Yeah, so that's pretty solid. And I thought, for the large team battles, what got me excited when they showed that part of the stuff was all the vehicles that are available, how vehicles can also carry equipment. The way the vehicles kind of deteriorate or break down on how they're being shot. It's not like it just goes from like 100 to 0 type situation. Vehicles are affected by getting shot. So if you blow out a tire, it'll maneuver differently. Like this is like newer technology in the sense of it's not like old Halo, right? They've taken old Halo and like polished it up to kind of line up with current day standards. And so big team battle looks really exciting. I thought the arena games or gameplay that they showed also looked like really good. Like it didn't look bad. The combat looked nice. It looked smooth. Even the characters I thought looked good. Like they didn't look cheesy, but it all looked and felt very Halo.
Yeah.
Right. I think if you're a purist of Halo, what you saw shouldn't turn you off. And if you're new to Halo, and I'm not new to Halo, I just wasn't a diehard Halo, right? But if you're also newer to Halo, like it probably looked fairly appealing, right? Like you're gonna try it out, I would think for sure, considering it's a free game. And so, they did a good job with what they showed off. I thought the guns looked good. I love the customization options that you have for your Spartan now, like being able to literally change every piece of armor gives it that unique feel. So like that was also nice. So they showed some good stuff in this in their overall presentation.
Yeah, like I said, as a Halo fan, I'm super excited for it. It looks like they've done it right in the sense of it almost seems like they've just completely forgotten that Halo 5 was a thing. And this was more toward appeal like, hey, how do we update these Halo players like myself who really hasn't played Halo all that often?
Did they talk about sprint or anything like that? I know that's one thing that you've always talked about.
I didn't see that. And, I'm going and I'm playing Halo Master Chief Collection and I'm playing some multiplayer on the PC and stuff. And in there, sprint was like an equipment, right? Like that's how you got sprint. It was like a part of your equipment, which is like looking back on it, the dumbest mechanic in the world. Like sprint now is just in games. You have to have a sprint. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have a permanent sprint. And I think even Halo 5 did have a permanent sprint. So I'm sure they're going to carry that over.
What do you think of the grapple? They showed that off like 40 times.
They're very proud of that grapple.
Like, very proud of that grapple.
Very, very happy with it. It is an equipment, so I guess not everyone's going to have it.
I took that almost in a different way. I thought the fact that they showed it so much,
like it's going to be like a huge thing for like map design.
that's how I took it. Now I could be completely wrong on this, but I was like, man, they showed the grapple, I shit you not, like 10 times throughout all the videos,
to
which
hook onto
makes me
people,
believe it's a much bigger part of the game than, hey, just one person has to be able to go pick this up at the right time to be able to use it. Like, I think we might see that as either like a something that you already have, and it's just part of your skill set. But I don't know. I mean, that's how I took it with the amount they showed it.
I'm gonna have to wait to play it to honestly tell you if I hate it or love it. Knee-jerk reaction is like, it could be annoying, but honestly, it's all I want. And I'm sure they have it on there. I don't recall seeing it, but I wasn't really looking for it. Is a climbing feature, right? I know Halo 5 had it. No other Halo had it to where you could. I know when you went back and played multiplayer, you're like, how do they not climb walls in this game? And it's like, I know it's very dated in that regard. So I'm sure they're going to catch it up to speed and everything there. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. I think the free to play is going to be, huge for it, especially from an esports side. The one thing I wish they did more of was, and I get it's the Xbox presentation, but discuss a little bit how they're approaching the PC side of it. Because I know they've talked about it in interviews outside of E3, and that's like how they're building the PC side completely separate. So that way it's like, hey, they understand the Master Chief Collection on PC kind of sucked. Like, it was not a good port.
Kind of sucked.
It's bad. It bad.
Sucked.
So let's do this right for the PC players and make it functional on PC. I was hoping they went into a little bit more detail of that, or maybe even more of an esports future.
They really needed to talk about that a little bit because of that. The fact that they brought up that crossplay is going to be a key feature to this, right?
Right.
You're going to be combining everybody. And the fact that aim assist was so wonky on the Master Chief Collection, it would have been nice to see them address that a little bit and how they're going to combat that. Even if they're not able to live up to expectations on whatever they're trying to do, it would have been nice for them to at least acknowledge that that was a major flaw in releasing the Master Chief Collection on PC. Like, this is a big reason why your game died so quickly, with all these remasters that you made for PC, is if you were on PC and you weren't using a controller, well, guess what? You were going to get rocked. And so I know at least every streamer we were watching quit playing, most likely due to that reason.
I mean, directly. I mean, Summit said, like, he wants to play the game, but the aim assist was just so, I mean, he got to that certain level and it was just like, I can't do anything against it.
And even like pro controller players were acknowledging that as like, yeah, this is like tuned up a little bit here, like we're good, but
this is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. So either way, very looking forward to it. As far as like a winner or loser goes on E3, I don't really know if I can deem one. Like, people keep saying Xbox and stuff, but I have a hard time giving them credit for Halo, considering we're going on a year now of it being delayed. Like,
yeah, I just thought they did a good job of like pumping out games, and
right.
Game Pass was the winner for me.
Yeah.
So maybe not Xbox directly.
That's right. The winner is whoever has Game Pass.
Yeah, if you have Game Pass, you're a winner because everything you saw in the Xbox and Bethesda presentation, you have access to when it comes out.
Yeah.
So even if you don't want to pay $60 for a game, pay $10 a month and you're going to get 80% of these games for free, and then occasionally go buy that one-off game or ask for it for Christmas, birthday, whatever. You're getting a lot of content from them, and I think this puts a ton of pressure on Sony. I don't know what Sony is going to do to kind of capture the audience back, because right now I'm feeling a little bit of a shift in favoritism towards Xbox, where it felt like for the last two console releases it was so heavily one-sided towards PlayStation. I can see a shift taking place right now, and so I think Sony really needs to have great exclusives, which I know you and I don't necessarily care about most of those games that have been exclusives in the past, but they're brilliant games and millions of people play them and buy the PlayStation for that reason. They're going to have to do that again. Like they're going to have to come out swinging and possibly offer a similar service to a Game Pass type service to even compete. Because right now you go buy an Xbox for $400, convince your parents to pay $10 a month, and they probably don't have to buy you a video game for the next few years.
Yeah. So it's like I said, as two people who are out of the console race, Microsoft did really well. To where if I ever had to get back in the console race, I wouldn't necessarily count them out immediately.
No.
Other than that, they did highlight.
You or me would never get an Xbox, though. We really wouldn't. Like, there's no chance
just,
we would get an Xbox because we
I
have
mean,
a PC.
not now, because they play so well on PC. They did show a little esports section of E3. That was okay for what it's worth. That's where we saw like Nate Schott's interview and things like that. And I guess it was nice that they at least acknowledged esports, but it was okay.
What else did they show for esports?
I mean, they did like a little history of it and everything. But again, I guess for people who keep up with it, it's kind of like, okay, next. Like we've been here. Thank you. Yep, we know all this. Thank you. Anyways, so there's that. E3, it's done. It's in the books. Thank you for indulging us on our 2 episodes a year where we kind of just talk gaming, not as much esports. We'll get back.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, we'll get back into esports though, because let's be real. After this, it's kind of all we got. we don't play enough games to. It's funny. My buddy, he does a normal gaming podcast, and he'll have me on there from time to time. And it's like twice a year I go on there, and every time they ask, like, "So Tim, what have you been playing?" Same thing I was playing the last time you guys had me on. Like
it's like Counter-Strike.
Yeah, WoW and Counter-Strike. Like, don't really mix it up. Maybe Valorant here and there. Like, I don't mix it up. Kind of the same 3 games. Sorry to disappoint. All right, so let's get into some e-news brought to you by Philly Esports. Our friends over at Philly Esports have some big things on the way. As you know, they have the big Rocket League tournament coming up. Let me pull it up here just so I have all the information. The Rocket League, June 19th, Saturday, 3v3, free to enter, $1,000 prize pool, sponsored by the U.S. Army. This is a free to enter $1,000 prize pool, 3v3 Rocket League event. Online, there is no excuse. If you are a competitor, if you feel like you stand a chance, do it. You go to phillyesports.net, you sign up, go in our Discord. They're under the self-promo section as well. This is a big tournament, big opportunity for people. People watch it, right? So if you're wanting to go pro, this is a stepping stone. I dare say a stepping stone. And Rocket League's not your thing. They have a lot of things coming up in the future, and we'll talk about it more. But coming up in July 10th, Call of Duty tournament. In August, another Rocket League event. And in September, Anuj, which you and I may or may not be recruiting a team for, Valorant. So they will be doing a Valorant tournament as well coming up in September. So, well, like I said, we'll update everyone more on that, but phillyesports.net is where you need to go right now and sign up for the Rocket League event this weekend, June 19th, in just a couple of days. All right, let's get into some e-news. Let's knock this out. In Counter-Strike, as we said, I Am Summer came and went. Gambit defeated OG, the finals everyone thought, 3-0. So Gambit,
and now they're playing again right now, so they're back at it and in the upper semis of the Blast Pro Spring Final.
Gambit, I still say, I think they're the real deal. I know, like everyone's saying, like, oh well, let's see what happens when we come back to LAN.
No, they're good.
I'm curious to see what happens when we go back to LAN, because I feel like all these teams that were really good on LAN, that's their excuse for right now. And it's like, guys, this has been like over a year now. Like, you can't always use the LAN excuse anymore. Like, it's like, I feel like this is it. I feel like these are all real teams.
These teams that are playing well right now and that have been playing well for a while, they are the real deal.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change going to LAN. Guardian is to stand in for Trident as he makes his return to pro play. Blast Premier Spring Finals starts this Thursday.
It's actually already started.
Yeah, that started. That would have been, I guess, last show.
Yeah.
So that's already started, as Anuj just mentioned. So go check that out. And if you did check it out, you would have seen Olaf is back on FaZe, kind of picking up where he left off. He's been looking good.
Bro, he's been on FaZe like 6 times now. Like they need to. I don't know what the hell FaZe is doing. This is like becoming a little embarrassing at this point. You're pulling a dude out of retirement every couple months to have him like fill in as your 5th, and you're not gonna win. I mean, you've already lost to Navi 2-1. Now you're about to play G2 in the lower bracket. Like, good luck. You're about to be a first round elimination.
This is what I don't understand, because he does look good. Like, he looks good. But at the same time, yeah, like you're benching guys like Cold for Olaf, and I get Olaf is just a temporary placeholder. But like, what do the fans or the team honestly expect? You know? Like
he was the lowest rated player in their first map or first series that they had against Navi. Not to say he's bad. It's just, look, he's not playing competitively.
No, he's
like,
coming in cold.
Yeah, he's coming in cold and he's replacing cold. And in neither of these scenarios are like, I'm really like done talking about FaZe until they show some promise or some sign of life, because it's the same story over and over with them. Like, what are we waiting on? Like, Twist isn't proven to be some superstar. He was good in NA. He's proven to be good, you know, like good in EU, but he's not standing out. Like, it's not like he's carrying games for him. So
in Overwatch over the weekend, we did have the Dragons have revenge against the Dallas Fuel in a best of 5, coming back from an 0-2 deficit at 1.31. So Dragons ended up capping out a 3-map winning streak to win that. Anuj, in our neck of the woods, though, LANs are back. Houston and Dallas will kick off for the Dallas homestand. That will be July 9th. So
Friday, July 9th.
Friday. This obviously wasn't pre-planned, because I don't think they would do Friday as a homestand.
From 1 to 5 p.m.
Yeah, not the most convenient time. On Twitter, I said we'll be there. That's before Anuj was like, yo, you know that's a Friday. And I was like, no, I didn't. That's a fun fact. Fun fact that they need to let you know. So, best efforts, we will be there. Best efforts. And in other big Overwatch news, sad news, Team Runaway announced that they are disbanding. For those who don't know, this was pretty much the Overwatch League farm system. Korean team dominated before Overwatch League, dominated the minor league. It's the Overwatch Contender League. This is a historical team that's now disbanding. This was what Vancouver Titans originated from, right? They signed the original Runaway roster, and so it's definitely I would say like a big deal for Overwatch that Runaway is disbanding. In Valorant, Daps, friend of the show, Daps, announced that he is retiring or stepping down from NRG and retiring from professional gaming. So
yeah, I mean, that time comes for everybody. He's played on a lot of teams and been out there a lot. Maybe he goes into coaching.
And props to him, because he even said, he was like, those close to me knew I was done. Like, it wasn't like he was beating around the bush. No, he said, I'm done.
That's hard to let go of, right? Like takes a big step to do what he's doing, and I wish him all the best. You know, I'm sure he will hopefully find a way to stick around in esports, whether that's commentator, analyst. Like,
still the only man to ever ask us if he'll get paid to do a liner.
That is true.
Like this right here. Oh.
At one of my first events, so I was definitely thrown off.
So this.
Hey, this is Daps. You're listening to TCR.
He was looking for 100K.
He asked if he would get paid for that. I've never had that happen before in my life.
Just so you know, we said no.
Yeah, we're like, no. Exit picked up Depth as their new 5th will take over IGL role.
Yeah, Depth's getting another chance, I think, coming from Dignitas. He's going to be taking over the IGL role for him. I think it's a good pickup. Exet has been on the rise, so they are been looking decent. So maybe this is a bump that they needed to get over that hill, but we will see.
A team that looked on the rise for a little bit there, Guild Esports, has part ways with Draken.
little bit surprising because Draken was like their highest rated player over their last few matches that they've had, and he's obviously one of the big names, and he was one of the first pickups for that org. Coming from Counter Strike, played for Ninjas, like he's got a good history, and a little surprising move. Like I'm sure there's more reasonings behind it, but it couldn't have been strictly due to performance because he was actually playing pretty good for him.
And a new agent has been leaked by the name of KO, assuming that's how we're going to go with this pronunciation of it. He's a robot-looking person, cyborg, if you will. And Nuge, you were mentioning prior that he is being billed as someone whose ability will make shooting important.
Yeah, which makes me think he does some sort of ability cancel or some
EMP
sort of
ability
force
type.
field around a certain area or something where you can't do anything. So, that sounds interesting. It sounds a little trolly, and I'm sure it'll be hated by many, but we're excited to see it.
It's all those pro players that said abilities were taking away the FPS. Now we'll see how much they love it.
Yeah.
All right, you didn't want to use abilities. Here you go. In Call of Duty, Subliners in trouble and will have to scramble to find a new fourth for Stage 4 as Asim, that's how you say his name, right, is having visa issues.
Yeah, and he's been having them for quite some time. I know Clayster mentioned it on stream not too long ago, but that sucks because this is obviously big, and you don't have one of your main guys there, and he's played so well for him, and they've just performed well as a team.
Days before the major too.
Yeah,
Days.
So we'll see how this affects them. I'm gonna assume it's gonna hurt quite a bit.
And that does kick off tomorrow, and it is a LAN right here in Dallas. Now, no fans or media are allowed, so we will not be there, but it is within shouting distance. So it is LAN.
I reached out to Hex, so there is a chance that we still find our way in there, possibly, Tim.
Yeah, I'm sure. He'll get right on it. He'll get right on that. Stage 4, though, does have some big matchups. Dallas versus Optic and Subliners versus Minnesota to kick off, so I'm interested. I am intrigued as much as I have been this year for Call of Duty because with it being LAN for the first time, I want to see all these teams that have been bitching and moaning about online play, and that's what the difference is. I really want to see that now come out. I want to see if it makes any difference to this.
Dallas versus Optic, man, with the drama that's been going on there between Crim6 and Formal, and then like Hook coming out with his story recently, like this is going to COD does a good job of building up hype. They know how to time drama at the right time, and Dallas versus Optic being lined up for that first round matchup is icing on the cake, my friend.
Schalke? Is that how you say that?
Yeah, I think it's Schalke. They're a huge soccer team. I think they just got put into relegation, so this is probably where this is coming from. But they are selling their League of Legends LEC slot, Tim, for a reported 30 million euros.
Let's do it.
Let's... Amuka, you guys there? Listening? Let's see if we can put a bid together.
No comment. No comment. In Battle Royale news, Team Kugama? I don't know how to say their name.
Come on, Tim. A little respect for the champions.
I will literally never have to say their name after this e-news again.
Kangarna.
They're lucky I'm even saying it right now.
It means wishful thinking in Hindi.
Does it really?
No.
You could tell me anything means anything in Hindi, and I would believe it. So. Anyways, that team took first place in the North American Apex Legends Global Series Championship. Only reason I bring this up is because they beat like huge orgs in it as well. So this wasn't like just some like, yes, it's.
Oh, this was all the biggest teams
Right.
in Apex. Like this is their biggest event. This is the championship series. TSM was a team. They had like Snipe Down, and like, I mean, there's just so
Sentinels were there.
good teams involved, and for them to walk out on top is pretty awesome for that group.
Yeah, and there's video of them too on their Twitter and stuff, freaking out at the win. So it was good to see. Beyond the Summit bans hacks for Smash Summit 11 after controversial evidence video. Anuj, this could have been a yikes, but I honestly don't even know how to approach it. But Hacks, if you haven't seen them, has put out 2 videos, both like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. The first one, batshit crazy. Like, what's the
Evidence of what? I'm confused.
who's that crazy guy who does like really conservative Alex something?
Oh, Alex Jones.
Alex Jones level crazy. So he came out with a video stating why Leffen of TSM is Hitler 2.0 and how he is trying to take over the Smash scene and the fighting game community and like brainwash them.
They might need that in that community.
Now, I know Leffen is kind of a troll and a lot of people don't like him because he is an asshat. But and it wasn't like how we jokingly will compare people to Hitler. He was like dead serious on why he thinks he is.
Probably not the best comparison to make.
No.
Unless he is killing millions
Now,
of
he
people.
did come out with a second video and like a little bit more calm, cool, and collective and tell his thoughts, but still. Like, what? Sonic Fox wins another tournament as he is the first ever Guilty Gear Strive tournament winner. So game just came out. He is the first ever winner at what they're calling a, funny enough, a tournament sponsored by Leffen, nonetheless, Hitler 2.0. So big tournament there. So congratulations to Sonic Fox. Pick it up where you left off.
Crazy for Sonic Fox to take home a win in a new game.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Other than that, in other e-news, FaZe Clan is on the cover of Sports Illustrated with Brawny.
And I know this like got shitted on by like I know Jacob Wolf slammed them like saying that this is not that big of a deal. This is pretty freaking cool. Like I don't care what you think of FaZe Clan, like that's not the point. But being on the cover of SI, regardless of what you think of SI, it's not as big as it used to be. I get that. But
I would still like to be on the cover.
Hell yeah, dude! I was like, I mean, again, this is maybe more our age bracket, but like SI was like the shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Like everybody had a subscription to it, and you found a way to. If you were in the store, you bought it. You know, you got draft guides, like random things out of it that you always just. I mean, I had so many SIs that I couldn't even tell you. They're still probably stored away in a box somewhere at my parents' house. But I think that's really cool. You know, this is more exposure that put them on ESPN. They had, you know, LeBron James's kid, Bronny Jr. on there on the picture with them. They also had Kyler Murray, quarterback from the Cardinals, who represents them as well. And so it was a nice little, like, I thought, unity moment. And look, if you're going to have one esports org on the cover of SI, with FaZe and who they have attached to them, like makes a lot of sense. So that was a good pick. And
my thing here,
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
My thing here is you cannot, and everyone knows how I feel about FaZe. I don't like FaZe. Like it's just fact. I don't like FaZe. But I also will admit, like you can't have your cake and eat it too. And if I want esports to be as big as it can be, and what I truly feel like it can be and should be, I'm going to support FaZe on the cover of SI. Like simple as that. Do I like FaZe? No. Do I think they're douchers? Yes. But I will always support them being on SI because it's exposure in a good, positive way, not in a Thorin in Newsweek kind of way. So this is positive exposure that we want in esports, not the negative kind that we typically see. And for Jacob Wolf, a man who might be just a little bitter still of being laid off from esports, maybe he isn't fully on board.
ESPN.
Or esports. Just esports laid him off completely. ESPN, thank you. Maybe he's still a little bitter to traditional sports.
It came across that way to me. I'm sure he made some relevant points in there, like that it's not as big as it was, and you know
But
maybe
still,
some of how
it
the
is
article
still
was written
big.
he took offense to. But like, look, it's still big news.
You want
still got them on
esports?
Sports Center. Like, it gave them mad publicity. Gave esports publicity. Like,
If you
it was
want
good.
esports to truly be mainstream, this is how you do. Like, you don't make it by forcing its way and taking over. You make it by like connecting the similarities.
It's not going to be some big tournament that all of a sudden makes esports mainstream. It's going to take more
Right.
than like the game to do that, right? And so
Because if that was the case, it already would have been there.
Yeah, like the TI. Shit, you know, that has a $40 million prize pool. That should attract some eyes. But guess what? It gets mentioned for a half a second and then kind of glossed over as that's all it is. It's just a big money event. So things like this are it's good exposure. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is. And it's cool. Like, I mean, if I were them, this shit would be hanging on my wall, man. I would have it framed and something I would remember forever to be on the cover of SI. I know they had like Nick Merckx, Swag, like a
Maybe
couple other
one day.
face creators on there. Like, yeah, it's cool.
Maybe one day we'll be on SI. For what? I'm not really sure. But one day. When esports makes the Olympics.
Like when they take a crowd shot of a game and we just happen to be
Yeah,
in
we're
that
in the
spot.
background. That's the only way we're making the cover is when we're in the background of a crowd shot. That is 100% the truth. And not even that, because we don't even get excited. We're too old. All right, so there it is. There's episode 336 of The Center Ring presented by Alt. Thank you to Alt and Philly Esports for sponsoring the show. Remember, go to phillyesports.net, sign up for their 3v3 Rocket League event, and keep an eye out for all future events coming up shortly. Happy E3, everyone. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it. Let us know in Discord or Twitter what you thought. We'll get back to normal esports programming soon enough.
Will we be back on Sunday with it being Father's Day? Because I know I'll be gone most of that day. I just thought about it. Maybe we'll talk about this
To be
offline.
decided, because it's also my birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Anuj. We missed your birthday episode.
Thank you, and happy early birthday to you in case we're not here on Sunday.
Thank you. Happy birthdays all around. Yours was June 12th. Mine's June 20th, which is also Father's Day, so we'll see. Yeah, so I guess that being said, maybe we'll be back Sunday. Maybe we'll be back Monday. Follow us on Twitter. That's the only way to know. At The Center Ring. Before Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see ya. Yeah, I mean, I am most likely down to do it Sunday night still, if you want to, but
I guess it
either
just
way.
depends on when we get home from my parents that
Okay.
night. We're going to her parents during the day. We're going to my parents at night.
We're not, I mean,
Yeah,
you know me, I'm not a big, like,
Hudson's birthday party on Saturday. It might just be like a long ass weekend.
I mean, it's going to be a long weekend because, yeah, I mean, I have birthday parties out the ass and then my birthday party and then Father's Day,
Yeah.
but thankfully that's probably why I could do it because it's like, I'd be like, yo, I just want to chill.
Maybe we just make it a gaming night for your birthday instead.
Maybe we can just swing it and then we do the show on Monday anyways, right? Like Sunday we just game. Like it's Father's Day. That's what Morgan keeps asking, like, because obviously I got the computer and everything, so I'm not asking for anything. I'm just like, I just want to be left alone.
It's like so hard to say that, and it's like what we all think.
I know.
I jokingly say it, but then I like kind of say it seriously at the same. I was like, I
I
kind of just
don't-
want to like, can't just do my own thing
You
for a
know,
little bit.
like, you don't want to hang out? That's a loaded question. Yes.
But like not the whole day.
Like how long? Like, can we have a line where it's like, okay.
Like, can we cut this off by like 9, 8:39?
It's, I need to know. I told her, I was like, honestly, it's like I won't even mind just going to the movies. It's been so long since I've been to the cinema.
Yeah. I'm supposed to, hopefully if I have time tomorrow, I want to build the grill out.
Hello, donut for Father's Day. His dad's in town, you know.
Yeah.
Bought him a portable. It's outdoor. I assume it's outdoors. It looks outdoors. Pizza oven. So
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I'm going over there. He was like, dude, you gotta come over and we gotta make some pizza. I was like, oh, hell yeah.
That would be pretty badass. How's dad life going for him?
Good. It's funny because like exactly like us, where he's just like, man, he's
Overwhelmed right now.
Well, and he says it's crazy being home and just checks on him every 15 minutes to make sure he's breathing, and like he slept
Yeah.
through the night the other night for the most part. But Donut was like, it was like every 15 minutes he'd go in and just be like, is he alive still? Like yep. I'm like, that's pretty normal.
It sounds about right.
Pretty normal. I mean, he seems to be. I know her family's in town, and then I think his family was coming in town, so he's got family there and everything. So I was like, I'll come after the family because
Yeah.
I remember for mine, when Shep was first born, like at 2 weeks, my sister came by for 2 weeks and stayed with us. We thought it would be nice, and then like retrospect, we were like, you don't want to feel like you have to like entertain or whatever. You know, it's just kind of one of those things
Yeah.
where it's like, no, it's just easier if it's just us and fend
Like
for
just
ourselves.
come by to visit and help out.
Right. I was like, we'll wait. I was like, I know it can be overwhelming. All right, I'm gonna kill the stream. Everyone in chat, Canada, if you're still here, thanks. Thanks for stopping by. TTYL. Talk to you guys in Discord.